Let me just say the locals in Merimbula, they're very friendly. These are rainbow lorikeets, and as you can see, they are pretty keen to come and say hello. And this is one of the reasons why, hey boys, calm down, I'm doing a piece to camera here. This is one of the reasons why, this is one of the reasons why you come and stay at a caravan park, because the kids and the whole family get to see what nature in Australia is all about. And these birds, they're nectar eaters. They are just sensational, extremely friendly, and a little bit grumpy sometimes too. Fellas, calm down. Boys, we won't tell the others. You two are coming fishing. You three. Bushy, I have a confession to make.
Well, I'm not exactly a priest, but go ahead.
I have driven past the Merimbula Lake turn-off, I reckon about 250 times, and depending whether I was coming or going, I've never made the turn left or right, but I hear there's a few fish in here, it's worth checking it out.
Well, we have checked with Ronnie from Tackle World, and there's a rumour that there are a few salmon in this estuary, but I don't want you to turn off ever again, mind you. This is a one-off. Don't come here again.
It's not that good?
No, it's not good.
So never come to Merimbula estuary system, it's no good, but today we'll give it a go just to do the right thing.
Righto.
Let's see what we can find.
Now, it seems to be a bit tricky when you look at a great mass of plastics. You naturally think, boy, this is complicated. It's actually not that complicated. What we've got here is just a few sizes. That's a 70mm plastic, that one's an 85mm, and these are 110mm. And all we're doing there is just offering the fish a little bit of a choice. There are different size baits in any system, so we're just doing that with the plastics. And even our jig head selection is not quite as complicated as you might think. Here we've just got a 9-gram head, we've got a 5-gram head, and this one here is a 1.5-gram head. So all we're doing, rig up about 3 different heads on your plastic, and that means if the current's flowing, you might use the heavy one. If there's no current, you might try a light one. We'll just let the fish make their own minds up. Try a couple, throw them out, and the one the fish grabs, well, that's the one you use for the day. Now today, we're going to try a 9-gram head. So I'll show you how to rig that up on the plastic. It's quite important to get it straight. That's about all you have to do to make these little flick baits work well. So I'll just pick up that 110 flick bait. There's our 9-gram head. Now we just put the point of the hook right in the center of that plastic at the front, thread it through, making sure it goes on nice and straight and come out right in the center of the back. Now we just push the lure up till that little wire hook grabs it, and if that lure's nice and straight like that, we know it's going to swim properly, and when we give it a flick in the water, it's going to dart like a real fish, and we're going to catch some rippers.
Yep. Got him on. So have you been surf fishing out of boats long, Bushy?
Well, I reckon having a longer one is always good.
I just can't believe it, but it actually makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, you can cover a lot of water, and these rods are actually quite light.
Yep.
This braid I'm using is fairly light, but I can throw a long way. I seem to have hooked something here, which feels pretty... Oh! Don't you love them?
Fairly substantial. That is awesome, mate. I'll get this out of the way. And I was laughing at your rod. Oh!
If you don't like this, you're not a fisherman, are you?
Oh, that is it, mate. Oh, look at that. Hey, that's a nice fish.
Yeah, they're good fish for a little estuary. You just keep driving past too, by the way, don't...
I'll never come here.
No, don't come here.
You know, every time I've come to this place, we've got a fish on the first cast.
Yes, that's right. Well, can't get much better. Whoops, where are we?
He's sort of under the boat, mate. Look, we do have a technical problem, though.
What's that?
Well, I'm no mathematician, right?
Yes.
But the rod's 12 feet long and the net is 6 feet long. What do we do?
Well, we're here all day.
One thing about Australian salmon, they're aerobic creatures. They live a life in the fast lane, a bit like us, Bushy, just never stop. And they're pelagic, they travel the oceans of the world, they just go, 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 go. And when you fillet one, you'll actually notice it's got that real red flesh, Bushy, and that's why they can keep doing this to you. Whoa! Now, if I'd have been prepared, I would have had nothing but net then.
Well done, Paul.
Oh, that is gold. Look at that.
Well, that's a reasonable start.
Look, it's not bad, Bushy, but can you lift your game? I expected something at least twice the size.
Well, we'll probably get some bigger ones.
I'm only joking, mate. That is awesome. And, dare I say it, I think he ate the flick bait.
He did.
Gee, they love those evil minnows, don't they?
Oh, look, it's a great colour. Just represents a lot of the little bait fish that you see in these estuaries.
And surely you could catch these on a hard body, but the benefit of this, a single hook, you saw the way that fish jumped. Mate, seriously, they're not going to throw a single hook anywhere near as easy as they will trebles, will they?
No, certainly when you use a metal lure, it works well,
Yep.
but they certainly throw those trebles pretty
And
easily.
there is another advantage. He's just shaking goodbye. I'll just spin him this way. A lot easier to get this out than the old treble, mate, because I can just go like this. Out.
Yep.
Oh,
Save our lure.
oh, Bushy, I think you've got a few squidgies, mate. And away he goes. Straight to camera. Beautifully planned. Well done, Bushy. Well done, IFISH Trotter. I got a feeling.
Get a double, come on.
Oh, yes!
That diver's working overtime. He's your most valuable member of the crew.
Well, look, I have to feed him and I have to put him up at accommodation, flying places, but worth his weight in gold.
He is, no doubt about it.
And right on cue too.
Yeah, so when are you going to get a real job?
It's going to happen one day.
They're actually quite old, these fish, aren't they, Paul? Like, they live a while.
They do. A big salmon can live for 26 years. And you made an interesting point over breakfast this morning, Bushy. Your old man took you to the Tathra Pier, so that's how you know to find it.
Yeah.
But if they catch all the big salmon, how then do the small salmon know what the big salmon used to do?
Well, certainly I was watching a bit of a show on TV at one stage, and some of the fish biologists now actually think that migratory species like tuna and even probably the salmon, they do learn from the older fish that have made the migration before them. And they're finding that even with the southern bluefin, there was suitable habitat, but the fish just weren't going there. And they reckon it's because all the big ones have been netted out and the other ones don't know where to go. Now, whether that's true, who knows? How big's this thing?
That is a horse.
Chunk.
He is well over 2 kilos, isn't he?
You just keep driving past, just forget about that turn off.
Yeah, I'll never come here again. It's overrated. Merimbula, the lake there, or Narooma, Wagong Inlet. That's the place to catch salmon. Not. Once they get their head down, there's a bit of current here, they can go, can't they?
They do.
Oh,
Oh, look at the size of that.
it's a monster.
It's a beast.
It's the beast from the deep. And look at that. Yeah, baby.
That's a pretty serious salmon.
That is a very, very serious salmon. Well, the good thing about fishing, as long as you're having a good time, that's what fishing's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, when are we going to start that?
It's going to happen very soon. This is salmon fishing in Merimbula, and I'm pretty excited. You are such a cruel man, Bushy. Such a cruel man. Can I just say that if I ever use the term friend and you're in the conversation, I'm lying, okay?
Look up Facebook, it's not on there.
Yes. You can be my friend on Facebook because I'm never going to talk. I'm never going to talk to you in person again, so it'll be really handy. Oh, look at that!
It's not fun, this job.
No fun at all, mate. No fun at all.
Oh.
Are they actually jumping, or are you lifting them out with your pole?
Mate, they are jumping.
Have you done any tuna poling in your years, Bushy?
No, I missed out on that.
Yeah?
I sort of got extinct before I did that.
But you did a lot of pro fishing?
Yeah, I did a bit of pro fishing.
What's the coolest thing you've ever seen pro fishing?
Big bunch of killer whales coming up, chewing all our blue eye off our lines.
Oh, serious? Awesome.
Yeah, that was...
Apparently old killer whales don't mind eating salmon either, just quietly.
Oh, but this is... The humble Lorikeets trotter.
Where's that net? Whoops.
I'm not foxy, I'm trying to get this thing in here. I'm giving it what I got.
What pound braid you fishing there?
Oh, about 10-pound braid, I think.
Well, he's just a big fish that's going hard. Look at him go.
Since you're not going to catch it, and you also tell people what we're going to use. What braid are we? What's the setup? How are we going to catch
Well,
this?
I'm actually using 4-pound fins, but the ones that are catching the fish at the moment, well, he doesn't even know what he's using, which is very sad.
No, I think it is 10-pound braid.
And Oh, there it
That's
is.
a cracker.
That is a good fish, mate. And Bushy must have forgot his reel rod because he's using his surf rod today, so you left your bream rods at home, did you, mate?
Oh, I do have one here, but I think it's always a good idea to have a rod that'll cast about 20 feet further than your mate.
And, as I said earlier, don't use that mate term too loosely, please. Didn't tell me about the surf rod. Mate!
Bit of leader.
Bit of leader, yeah. Look, I find Nitlon fluorocarbon's fantastic, and I found with salmon, if you get up to around 16 or 20 pound,
Yep.
because they can put a bit of hurt on you, can't they?
Yeah, this is probably similar to that, and I think it actually is a bit of Nitlon, this stuff.
Yep.
Trick is when you join it on, there's a knot we call a Slim Beauty. We can't really show it to you here, it's too hard to show on TV, but if you look it up on the internet or it's in some of the books, called a Slim Beauty. Goes through your guides really easily when you're casting, and it's as strong as hell, so that's something to look up.
It is an awesome knot. I've tried, and you've tested and tried the Slim Beauty. It works a treat. And if you really struggle with it, the old back-to-back uni does the job if it has to, doesn't it?
It will.
Well, I might put this one back so I can catch him.
Maybe next year.
There you go, dude. Off you go into the current, and away he goes. And Bushy, these things are called flick baits because you've got to flick it to make them work properly?
Yeah, that's basically it. When we're trying to design a plastic to imitate a lot of the bait fish,
Yep.
we do certainly have a number of different styles of plastic in the squidgy range, but these ones seem to work reasonably well, Bob.
They do, don't they? And did you have another name in mind before you got flick bait?
No, not really. We just realised that the way to make them work is you just give the rod tip a couple of flicks. Just makes the plastic dart. They don't have any, you know, actuator on the tail or anything to make them have a sort of a plodding action like a lot of the other lures. These just require a little bit of rod work, but they imitate those small bait fish much better than just about any other.
What I like about them is when you're having those days and you're not catching much and you start flicking away, I've often seen the flick bait near the boat and it scared me. I thought, oh, it was a bait fish. Hey, that's a big fish, Bushy.
That's a good salmon, isn't it?
That's a good sized big one, as my dearly departed friend Eric Atkinson would say, and I've got a jumper about 50 yards away.
Is your fish getting closer or further away?
Not really, mate. But you know what? Yours ain't getting a lot closer either.
No. I'm going to have to climb up this rod and get it in a minute.
Now, I do have a serious question to ask, Bushy.
Yes.
That is a very, very, very nice salmon. My serious question...
What a best netter, yes.
Have you been netting fish long, Bushy? No, my serious question, now that you've finally put the fish in the boat, and we're going to get a close-up in a minute just to explain this beautifully. In fact, through the magic of television, you'll see the close-up as I speak. When are you going to open Bushy's fishing rods and design? Because the rod binding job you've done on your rod, that is 11 out of 10, mate. Let me just say, as a rod builder, you're a very, very good salmon fisherman.
Ian Millie, you haven't got a lot to worry about. Righto, we'll let that go. I better show you what he's carrying on about. Just tie one runner on a little bit roughly.
A bit rough? Why'd you use the rope you used to tie your boat to the pier with?
It's catching more salmon than your rod with all the runners on there, come on.
I reckon he did that so that if I did happen to smack him, he'd have an excuse.
Wind that thing in and show people how the thingy goes on the end.
The thingy.
I'm tired now.
Actually, Bushy, I wasn't going to ask you, but after I saw you do such an amazing job at netting your own fish, is there any chance you would bless me by netting mine?
Righto, that's a good sambo.
He's all right.
That is a good sambo.
Ooh. Some of them just go a little
Oh,
hard,
I might go home
don't
for
they?
lunch now.
Be nice. I know how good you are at netting.
Oh,
That is gold.
that's a heavy fish.
They are fish, aren't they? They are big fish. Look at that. I'll just try and swing him around. And there's actually salmon free jumping behind us, so I won't take too long, but beautiful fish you can see. He swallowed the old squidgy. And that pink jig head is sitting there very proud. And they're cracker fish. Fluorocarbon leader, that's the key to most of this fishing with plastics. I'm using 16-pound Nitlon DFC. Rod today, Shimano Jewel, sensational spin stick, and the little CI4 Stratic 2.5. That is good fishing. I've got to say, I'm loving Australian salmon. They're underrated, but I've caught plenty, and I love every time they just take that plastic and go whack, you're on.
Oh, and jumping. Oh, it's good fun catching them on the plastic, but the old fly rod's a lot of fun. Oh, we couldn't help ourselves, they were coming in left, right and centre on the plastic. And we had to grab that fly rod, didn't we, Paul?
I wanted to see the master in action. And Bushy, the way you were just doing the old false cast, it was very, very sweet. But can you explain for people who are watching, because there's going to be a lot of people saying, why do you want to go to all that effort to catch a fish? Why do you use a fly rod to catch fish?
I'm not really too sure about that either, Paul. I think you should go out and buy Bushy's plastics, forget about that fly fishing. Look, it's been around a long time, fly fishing, and it hasn't really lost its appeal. It's all we're really using the fly line for is to cast out an unweighted lure. So it just means we actually cast the line. The line's quite heavy, you can see it here, it's thick. And we cast the actual line with the fly rod, and the fly just goes along for the ride. So in some ways it's quite effective because we can cast a really light little thing and we can cast it out 80, 90 feet just by throwing the line out there. I guess it's just a sweet thing to do. Once you've been involved in fly fishing, it pretty much gets into your blood a little bit.
And obviously that fly line's fairly thick, the fish are going to see it. What do you tie to the end of the fly line?
Yeah, it's very similar to using a piece of braid and doing what we normally do, tying a leader to it.
Yep.
All we do is just tie a thinner leader to this heavy fly line and we get stuck into it. Just another way to catch fish, really. Nothing that mysterious about it.
And a fun way too. Oh, and you got an absolute thumper on the fly.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I might notice, is that it's just a beautiful salmon, is that you've got some pink and yellow line in there called backing. What's the idea of the backing?
Yeah, well that's just along behind the fly line. In case you get a really big fish that runs a long way, we've just got that backed up with some standard braid. That's all that is. A couple of trendy colours, because I know you like trendy colours on your show.
Got to look good.
I stayed up last night, put all the colours on there. No, it's just in case you get a fish that runs a long way. But it's just another way to catch fish, no big mystery. A lot of fun though.
And if you're extremely good at it, and hands up if you're really good at it, I'll put his hand up because I'm not. It is just an absolute art, and I love the romance of fly fishing because seeing that line going through the air, it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I remember when I was fishing for bonefish on Christmas Island, I put a fly straight through my ear. It was very romantic.
Well, I've done it in Tassie with a big hook right in the ear, and it's not a good look.
Yeah, well these ears, it's pretty hard to get one past, so you got a good chance to get hooked.
I wasn't going to go there because I'm actually a nice person. Bushy, thank you so much. What a great day on this beautiful Merimbula estuary system.
Yeah, just keep driving past, Paul. Don't turn left when you're going past.
Personally, I wouldn't come here. The fishing's no good, and the company is very, very average. Merimbula, fantastic part of the world, great people and sensational fishing. If you like your seafood like I do, hop into Pier 1, come and see Shane and the team. Let me just say, it is 11 out of 10.